Hello everyone, myself Dr. Usha Vyas. Today my topic is Twelfth Night, and here I will discuss the title of Shakespeare Twelfth Night. The title of Shakespearean comedies are the title of Shakespearean comedies are as interesting as they themselves are. It appears that Shakespeare wants to toss at the readers the first title that occurs to him. In his opinion, it appears titles do not matter much. The play is the thing that matters. It will smell sweet by whatever name we may call it. In tragedies, Shakespeare is, however, more careful. There, the title is subordinate to one prominent person or the principal object. The title of Twelfth Night is derived from the festival of Twelfth Night, which was celebrated in England on the 6th January, that is the 12th day after Christmas. It was a day of various ceremonies and festivities. On this day, Elizabethan audiences enjoyed a comedy It was a day of various ceremonies and festivities. On this day, Elizabethan audiences enjoyed a comedy containing fun and frolic. In this regard, Carrington observes, perhaps Twelfth Night was written for some such actual performance, or perhaps it was so called simply because its spirit of fun was so appropriate for such a festive night. There is evidence to support that Twelfth Night was first performed at the court of Queen Elizabeth on the 6th of January. That is, the day of Epiphany was celebrated by the Christians as a day of festivity and rejoicing. It was on this day that the three wise men of the East, called the Magi, went to offer the worship to the infant Jesus Christ. Since this day was 12th after Christmas, a large cake cut on this day was called 12th cake. A bean and a pea were put inside the cake. Its pieces were distributed among the people. Those who got the portions containing pea and the bean were considered king and queen of the night. The expression cakes and ale occur in the play. It is full of spirit of cakes and the spirit of cakes and ale. Sir Toby tells Malvolio, "Dost thou think, because thou art virtuous, there shall be no more cakes and ale?" This play also reveals that marriages depend on chance and luck, as does the selection of the kings and queens of Twelfth Night by the chance. Sequence of cake pieces containing the bean and the pea. The spirit of Epiphany is adequately represented in the Twelfth Night. The other title calls attention to the fact that Shakespeare makes a vague allusion in it to the type or literary of dramatic art that the comedy represents. Marston, a dramatist, calls one of his dramas What You Will, but his way of doing it is quite different from Shakespeare's way in calling this gayest and happiest of his comedies by the same title. He asks for no criticism of the drama as Marston does, but welcomes all, high and low, old and young, to call it what they like. In fact, he bids everyone call the drama what he likes. For any reason, one does not approve of the first title. The second title is capable of being explained in several interesting ways. Attempts have been made to describe the drama as a comedy or romance, but Shakespeare's title shows that it defies classification. Shakespeare imagination imagines some critical questioner asking him if his drama would bear being called a comedy, tragedy, pastoral, or morality, but Shakespeare amply gives a wide scope for individual preference, leaving each person to interpret it in any way he likes after coming under the spell of his drama. For nearly 20 years after the drama was presented, people persisted in calling the comedy after Malvolio's name, as Charles I did. The play is a web of chance, caprice, and intrigue in more or less equal parts. But at the end, there is a happy reconciliation of all opponents, and all is digested into happy harmony except Malvolio's rage. No conversion on the stage or repentance disfigures its conclusion. The clown jests, Malvolio stamps, Toby drinks, Sir Andrew follows, and all cross-wooing ends in happy lovers meeting. The title is explained by others as reflecting the mere spirit of lottery. Wedding, like hanging, seems to go by destiny, and Sebastian Marcia and Duke win their great prizes. The drama is marked by ease and spontaneity. There is a hearty fellowship of the aspirations and ambitions of the high with the follies of the lower strata in society, all mingling in a spirit of good humor, and play overflows with a genial spirit. Thus, all high or low in society, children or adult, mirth makers, holiday makers, have their wish and come by their own in delightful comedy. The fact is, Shakespeare bids us in this genial play to take out of it what we will, leave aside what we will, and wander in it where we will. Shakespeare says a very significant farewell. I have finished, the play is over. I have striven to please everybody, and you are welcome to enjoy it in any way you like. I have taken care not to mar or curb the uniform joy of life, but I am on the brink of tragedy, and sorrow will come in its own time, but no overwhelming sorrow would I admit into my play and mar its peace, gaiety, and harmony. So, this is all for today. Thanks for watching.